There's me, there's us, there's them. We live in Dorset, so that's me, that's her, that's them. And together we are the Bear Fam. Hey ho, how are we? Just when you thought I'd given up altogether, here I am again. Couldn't resist vlogging today. It's such a beautiful sunny day. Quite mild, quite spring-like almost. Mind you, having said that, I don't know about your garden if you're in the UK, but all my plants that normally burst into life late March, early April are already flowering. I've got fuchsias flowering, I've got yellow daisy things, ceanothus. It's weird, but there we go. How are you all? I got a bit of a bunged up chesty, which I've had since week before Christmas, to be fair. It comes and goes in various degrees. It's sort of at the stage of bunging my nose up and gathering at the back of my throat, so you'll have to excuse me if I make odd noises. Plus my eyes are running because I'm out in the sunshine, but barring that, I'm in one piece. How was your Christmas and New Year, people? Mine was really, really quiet. Not a lot happened, I have to say. Ellie's dad got COVID, which he found out on Christmas Day. So Ellie hasn't seen her dad really, well, since last year. Sounds pretty drastic, doesn't it? Oh no, she saw him yesterday, take that back. Ellie's back at school. Things continue in somewhat the same vein. On the plus side, her tics seem a lot less frequent. She's maturing day by day. She's a very grown-up young lady, and I'd say she was probably a good 3-4 years ahead of where I was. No, maybe not, because I joined the cops at 19, so... Oh, I don't know. But I don't remember being quite as streetwise and with it as she is now at 16 going on 17. 16 going on 17. Da, 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 da. Anyway, so there's not a lot new in my life. There wasn't a lot to vlog about. There was a point where I thought I'd do Vlogmas, but got to about the 5th of December and I thought, oh, I think I missed that boat. Do you know what? My painting really just obsesses me. I am obsessed. If I'm not doing chores, sleeping, walking the dogs, then I'm painting. And I think Ellie gets a bit fed up with it. But having said that, she's got her own social life these days. The days of me having to find something to amuse her day in and day out are long gone. Do your eyes run in the sunshine, people? I feel like people must think I'm walking along booing my eyes out. But even when I'm not bunged up, my eyes run. But they're running like I'm crying today. But no, it's one of the first nice days I've been up here in a long time that I've actually thought, oh, this is really pleasant, as opposed to let's get this over and done with and go home. Because of Ellie's behaviour and some of the things she's said and done, they now like literally spy on her. So I get calls every day to say, Ellie said this, Ellie was overheard saying that. Just had one from the school literally before I started this. Ellie was overheard talking about meeting a boy called Bleep. It sounded like he was encouraging her to stay overnight. I said, you do know that she's old enough to get married, should she really want to. Yeah, but this is... No, okay, point taken. I said I'll speak to her when she comes home. Her best friend's boyfriend has the same name, so I'm going to assume that somebody's overheard something and added 2 and 2 and got about 12. But we'll see. She normally tells me everything, gory details of everything. So I would be surprised. But having said that, parenting is I'm beginning to realise that there's always a surprise around every corner. Every time you think you've got parenting down and sussed, something else pops up. You know, like you go to the fair and there's those things that you bang on the head with a hammer, like there's 3 holes, and then, I don't know, a rat or something jumps up out of the hut, you have to bang it. That's parenting, isn't it? You just think you've banged one problem out of the way and another one pops up, and then you bang that down and the other one pops back up. That, quite eloquently, right there, sums parenting up. Oh, there's a youth on the other side of the hill. I'll wait to cross over. I'm sorry for the sniffing and the sounding of disgustingness. Oh, there's somebody coming that way too now. I think what we'll do, boys, is go back the same way, because there's lots of people on that side, so come on, let's go this way. Anyway, let's have a little chat about current affairs, shall we? Get up to date with where we are in the world. Let's talk about Boris Johnson. Now, when all this COVID malarkey began, I was actually really with him. I thought, you know, he was doing really well, and then he got COVID and was really poorly, and he had his baby, and I was with him. I thought, my God, you poor chap. You know, all that to deal with, and you're still running the country, and, excuse me, Leeds losing. But as time's gone by, and especially all the recent revelations about parties here and cheese and wine there, and I just feel that he thinks his aristocracy and his wealth and his standing just stand him apart and above the rest of us. Almost like a parent that sets the rule that doesn't then feel that they have any responsibility to abide by that rule, because the rule was for the kids and not the people in charge. And that's very much how this government have played it. We set the rules, we're the parents, you lot are the children, you do as we say, and we'll do as we want to do. It reminds me very much of a phrase my grandfather used to use, which stuck with me from the first time I heard it, because I was quite miffed and taken back by it when I was a kid. But I used to go and stay with my grandparents for a week every summer down in Cornwall, and I was a good child, don't get me wrong, but there were occasions they were quite strict, and I don't even remember the topic, but I do remember challenging him, saying, well, if you can do that, why can't I do that? And I remember him saying, don't do as I do, do as I say. And it's quite a simple, stupid phrase, but it's stuck with me for life, and that's, you know, probably the last good 40 years it's been there. Don't do as I do as I say. And that, to me, should be a t-shirt that Boris Johnson walks around wearing, or a cap like mine. Don't do as I do as I say. I'm in charge, I make the rules, I've got stupid buffoon-like hair, I laugh in the face of questions that I don't want to answer. Yeah, so I think it's high time he took a hike back to Poshville and carried on siring his children, something he likes to do a lot of. So I'd like him to bog off right now. Not quite sure who I'd like in replacement, but I just know that he's signed his own death warrant. I think he needs to go. Prince Andrew, guilty as sin. Don't think he's a peed as such, but I think he obviously likes young nubile women. Brackets, what man doesn't really? Close brackets. And it's the same as the one we were just discussing, really, isn't it? Position, money. Don't do as I do as I say. I'm bigger than you. I'm more important than you. Therefore, I'll have what I want, thanks. And I think Jeffrey Epstein was a good ally for somebody like Prince Andrew. He's always been a bit of an obvious sexual, all men, and to some extent some women, don't get me wrong, but men are a lot more physically driven by sexual urge, I think. That's always been my experience, and I worked with men. I've never really worked with women, not really as much. Well, I have worked with women, but when I was young, 19, 20-year-old, I was consistently crewed in a car, stuck for 8 hours with lots of different men. Try as they might, they can't hide their true selves, and you get to know what makes a man tick. That's why I think a lot of my mannerisms, a lot of my attitudes, a lot of my behaviour is male. I learnt well, I needed to fit in. I didn't want to be female, if that makes any sense. Back when I joined the police service in the late 80s, early 90s, it was pretty clear that being female meant you were a second-class officer. You had to do doubly as good as any normal male officer to be recognised as being any good. So I think I learnt really early on, because I used to be teased a bit wrong, especially, I shouldn't go into huge details, but I was quite sexually inexperienced, should I put it, when I joined the police at 19. And I was still at that stage when anybody mentioned a penis or having sex, that I would flush bright puce pink. And of course, it didn't take them long to realise this, and I say them, like the squad of people I worked with. And they were all older males. I think the closest in age to me was probably mid-30s, so there was, a really big age gap, because I'd been stationed in a really rural Dorset station. And I used to run off, come to any excuse to get out of the room as soon as they started. And they did it on purpose. They did it on purpose. So as time went on, I adopted the sort of swagger. I adopted the talk dirty, don't give a shit, talk with, foul mouth, black sense of humour. Tried and succeeded pretty much in burying any femininity, really, especially when in uniform. So I know I'm men tick. It's probably why I'm not in a relationship, because it's never worked for me. Perhaps I've never found the right man, but I'm just not good at relationships. I'm really, really shit at relationships. I'm not giving enough. I think part of the problem is the fact that my parents have both buggered off and decided that I'm the worst thing ever. And you definitely have in the back of your head, if your parents can't love you, who the else is going to? There's definitely that bangs around, and regardless of how hard you try to eradicate that, it's really difficult to get rid of. But having said that, there's been no opportunities to have a relationship. I don't go out, I don't meet people. I have started going to a spiritualist church. Bizarrely, one of my exes actually, and I'm talking about an ex from right back when I was 19, 20, is there, but he goes there. But there's nothing in that anymore, for sure. He's got a lady of his own. But that was a long time ago. A bit ironic, really, when I'm talking the way I'm talking and what I'm talking about. Right, bear with me, I've got to put the dogs on the lead. The results of a week of rain are very apparent to anybody. And this lot think it highly amusing to dip their toes in the skankiness. Apart from Moo, who does his best to avoid puddles, because Moo doesn't do rain or water. Do you, Moo? Hey? Moo's getting a bit senile, bless him. But then he's 12 this year. 12! Bless his little cottons. Chunky's 3 this year. Can you believe that? 3. And Jack is 6 or 7. 6, I think. 7. Don't know. Anyway, I've probably rattled on enough. Bored you, Richard. You've probably moved on to other channels and probably won't even see this. I don't blame you. I would have done by now. So that's about it. I don't think there's no spectacular news. Nothing has changed. Still thinking of buying a camper van. It's just like a constant thing in my head. I'm gonna have to get it out of my system at some point, I think. It's just like years of this I want a camper van been going on. Especially now I paint, you know, I've got this urge to take the van somewhere and just be able to sit in the lounge area and just while away an afternoon painting. But there we go. Right, I think that's enough rubbish from me for one day. It was lovely to see you again. It's actually warmed my heart. Making contact with people I haven't spoken to in a long time. Right, as I used to say, take care of yourselves and each other, and maybe I'll speak to you again soon. I hope you're all okay. I wish you a very happy new year and health and happiness to you all, and I'm sending light and love to you. Namaste.